Hello everyone, and welcome back to our next episode. Today's episode is going to be on displacement. Before we get into our next concept, please make sure you did not skip the disclaimer. Please know that I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. The information provided in this video is strictly for educational purposes. Now, let's take a look at displacement. What is displacement? Displacement is a strong, energetic, and decisive move in one direction. Displacement is the presence of institutions. Bullish displacement is when price decisively breaks a short-term high. Bearish displacement is when price decisively breaks a short-term low. Now that we've defined displacement, let's take a look at good versus bad displacement. First, we'll take a look at good displacement. The time of the displacement is very important. We know that time is our most important element. Therefore, the time that it occurs is very important for the displacement. Next is the presence of the FVG. Does price leave an FVG while displacing? Next, we'll move on to bad displacement. No candle closure above a short-term high or a short-term low shows price's inability to displace. It is ICT's classic statement that wicks do the damage, bodies tell the story. If the body of the candle is unable to displace above a high or below a low, it is bad displacement. Next is no FVGs. If there is no FVG in the displacement leg, we know that price is not decisively and energetically moving in one direction. Lastly, before we get into any examples, we need to understand how we use displacement within our model. First is filtering displacement with time. In prior episodes, I have explained that I am a New York AM futures trader. Therefore, I filter my displacement with New York Open. I am not concerned with any displacement that occurs before or after New York Open. I'm specifically placing myself at a specific time, and that is New York Open. Next, we need to see displacement through the breaker block. I will show through the examples what I mean by through the breaker block, but the displacement leg needs to decisively and energetically go through the breaker block. Next, the displacement leg needs to leave an FVG aligned with the breaker block. If the displacement leg does not have an FVG, then our criteria is not confirmed. Lastly, no displacement equals no trade. The very first moment any of your criteria is not confirmed, we know that there is no trade to take. Now let's move over to the charts to take a look at displacement. We will be taking a look at bearish displacement. We will look at what bad displacement does to our model and what good displacement does to our model. Let's take a look. The first example shown here is an example of bad displacement. Because of the time that it occurs, which I outlined here, price is currently located in New York lunch. New York lunch is a no trade time for this model. The second reason why this is bad displacement is because price's inability to close below the swing low. This shows that price is indecisive and lethargic. This is bad displacement. Let's look at what happens to our model. At this point in time, you would be stopped out of your position. This is due to the bad displacement. We will now move over to an example of good displacement. The first thing to take a look at is the time of this displacement. As shown on the bottom of the screen and outlined here, this displacement occurs at New York Open. The second thing to look at is price's ability to close below the swing low. Price energetically and strongly closed below the swing low. When it closed below the swing low, it left an FVG aligned with the breaker block. Let's see what happens. After price gave an entry to the short, it then ran to plus 2R before stopping us out. This is due to the difference in displacement. This is what a good displacement will do for our model versus what a bad displacement will do for our model. That wraps up our episode on displacement. Before we leave, I want to say thank you to everyone that has shown support here on YouTube and on Twitter. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and know there will be more information provided on this model. If you found today's episode to be helpful, please give the video a like and comment. To be notified for our next defined concept, please subscribe to the channel. I also document this model daily on Twitter and in Discord. If you would like to also follow along there, I will link the Twitter and Discord in the description of this video. Thank you for joining, and please stay tuned for our next episode of the series.